Let's talk about how to pass the Deutsche Bank Hirevue video interview. What's up guys, it's Mike from Job Ready English here with another Pass the Interview video to help you get hired. Today we're going to be talking about the German banking giant Deutsche Bank and how you can pass their Hirevue video interview. In this video we're going to talk about what their recruitment process looks like, the most common interview questions that we found, and other questions that we found which we thought were interesting, which we'll give you some rapid fire answers to. As ever, you can check out our research note, which is taken from publicly available sources that we've used in our research from candidates who were interviewed at Deutsche Bank and reported their experience of the process. And we've got courses, templates and sample answers coming out of our ears to help you prepare as best as possible for your upcoming Deutsche Bank video interview. You can check that out in the link in the description below in the Deutsche Bank Pass the Interview pack. Let's get started with what their recruitment process looks like. So candidates reported that the process lasts around 2 months. Once you submit your application, you'll be asked to complete a numerical and situational judgment test online test. You will then be invited to complete a video interview via Hirevue. You're asked 5 questions during your video interview. We couldn't get a report for the timing, so we're going to assume 2 minutes to answer and 1 minute to think. If you pass the interview, you'll then be invited to complete an assessment centre. The assessment centre includes a group task, a case study and a one-to-one interview with a member of staff. So let's look at the 6 most common questions asked. These are questions that multiple candidates reported being asked in the past 6 months when they were interviewing at Deutsche Bank, so we feel like it's reasonably likely they're going to get asked again. Question number 1, why do you want to work for Deutsche Bank? So as ever, when you're answering questions like this, you want to pick out 5 facts about the company. If you don't know where to get those 5 facts from, we've actually done that in our research note, picked out 5 fast facts for the company. You want to make sure that the facts are unique, compelling, maybe based around a particular policy, a number, finance, revenue, clients, but something that can only apply to Deutsche Bank. And if possible, for at least one of your reasons around why you want to work for Deutsche Bank, try and link it back to something that personally resonates with you. Otherwise, it just sounds like you're reading out a shopping list of facts, and try not to make it generic. Deutsche Bank is big, it's famous, it's got world-class clients, that kind of thing. You could say that about any bank. Question number 2, why are you applying for this role? So you're going to get everything that you need to answer this question from the job description. If the job description for the role that you're applying to at Deutsche Bank is a little bit salesy, then you can try and get a job description from somewhere else for a similar role. And you're going to want to answer this question in 2 parts. The first part is, what are you going to do at the job? Just tell me what you would do as a finance analyst, as a risk analyst, as an equity research analyst. What would be your day-to-day tasks? And the second part is, what skills do you have that would make you really good at the job? So pick out a couple of skills from the job description. If you're unsure, another great resource that you can use is prospects.ac.uk, who've got hundreds of job descriptions and they're really most useful. So picking out a couple of the key skills that you would need to be really, really good at this job. Common mistake that I see when people answer this question is they talk all about themselves and they don't talk about the job at all. Question number 3, tell me about a time when you showed good time management. So this is a competency-based question. You're going to want to use STAR for this: situation, task, action, result, and you're going to concentrate the majority of your answer on the action that you took. A common mistake that I see with people when I listen to their answers is they spend way too much time explaining about where they were and what they were doing, but not the specific actions that they took. You're going to want to pick out what really makes people good at time management. Well, for me personally, what makes me good at time management when I'm actually good at it is being really good at planning, being organised. I diarise my time, I communicate, I ask people well ahead of time for help, I make sure that things are booked in, and also I'm not afraid to kind of stop, take a step back and think, is this really the best use of my time? Is this something I need to be doing right now? Question number 4, what are your strengths and weaknesses? If you only had 2 minutes to answer this question, you're going to want to pick out 1 strength, 1 weakness. Any strength will do from the key skills that you need for this job role. Just make sure that you can clearly demonstrate that strength with an experience so that you show that it is your experience and not your opinion. When it comes to weakness, I like weaknesses that have an element of truth please don't use weaknesses like I try too hard, I can't say no, I'm a people pleaser, I work too hard, I often burn out. Those types of things is, number one, I hear those answers all the time. Number two, I find them to sound a little bit false. And number three, try and pick something which personally you are aware of and is a weakness or a shortcoming that you can clearly demonstrate, and also you can use that answer and say, well, these are the things that I'm doing to be better at this thing, at this weakness, at this shortcoming. Question number 5, what motivates you for this role? So this is a really good point where you can talk about your experience, your personal motivation, maybe your family's involved in banking, maybe you've always read the Financial Times, maybe you just like the idea of making lots of money, or you like to trade, or you like crypto. You can reveal something a little bit more personal about yourself. That's a great place to do it with this question. Question 6, tell us about a time you worked in a team effectively. So really importantly for competency questions, you want to make sure that you're concentrating on the action part of what you did when you're talking about STAR, and you can use Google to pick out some teamwork skills, or you can get loads and loads of examples from our Pass the Interview pack. When you're talking about this, you want to make sure, if you can, pick an example from work. Don't be shy about the work that you've done. A lot of times, particularly when I talk to graduates, they'll say that they have no work experience, and really what they mean is, oh, I work in Costa, I work in McDonald's. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is an admirable thing that you should be proud of. My first ever job was in KFC, and I learned a lot of important skills that I've used in later life for other things that I've had to do, because you can demonstrate transferable skills. And always just think to yourself, how can I really demonstrate that what I did showed that I was a really good member of the team? Did I listen to others? Did I do my job? Did I help other people? Did I try to lead my own part of the project? Was I willing to see where I went wrong? Was I willing to resolve conflict? Lots of different things that you can do to really expand upon this question and demonstrate that you are a great team player. So here are 7 other questions we found, which we're just going to answer in a rapid fire round. Tell us about a time you made a mistake and how you fixed it. Everyone makes mistakes. Make sure it is a reasonable mistake. Some people might shy away, like if they failed a module or they got told off by their boss, but the truth is everybody has to make mistakes to get better. And what's really important is, what did you do to get better, and did you get better? Tell me about a time you handled conflict. So handling conflict is really about listening to the other person or the other parties, keeping in mind the goal that needs to be achieved, trying to understand people, working for compromise, whether that be seeking outside help, taking on the task yourself, or just trying to understand with compassion and empathy. Generally, sometimes people might bring conflict into the workplace because they're having a difficult time in their home life or something that's going on for them. Question number 3, why should we hire you? Very similar to why do you want to do this role? Question number 4, what interests you about Deutsche Bank? Very similar to why do you want to work for Deutsche Bank? Question number 5, tell us about a time you led a team or a project. So good leadership skills is really just about being the captain of the ship, knowing where you're going, marshalling your resources, communicating really clearly with people, trying not to micromanage, always seeking to be helpful, to work harder and to lead by example. How well do you handle pressure? Quite relevant at a bank, so you can talk about when you've had to do multiple things. If you're a student watching this, it might be, home life, studies and work. If you're a professional, it's probably the same: work, studies, say you're doing something outside of work, hobbies, home life, right? So how do you balance those things? How do you manage those times? How do you manage expectations, not just of other people, but also of yourself? And describe a problem you had in a previous workplace and how you solved it. If you haven't had a problem in the previous workplace, take it from something from your extracurricular activities, your volunteering, or even your school life. A lot of times when people have problems, what I tend to find when I have a problem is I try and make sure that I've got all the information that is required. I also just speak to my friends, my family, and people that I trust and run my thinking past them. I try to respond and not react. Often when I'm dealing with the feelings and not the facts, I can react. Generally my reaction tends to be frustration. I can say something that I don't mean. Generally it's not what I say, but it's how I say it. So I tend to find just taking a step back, just saying, look, I'm going to have to get back to you about this, speaking to other people, checking my thinking, and then returning to that problem generally after a good night's sleep. Guys, let us know how we did in this video. Please, if you can, hit that like if you like this video. Drop us a comment down below. Did this help you with your upcoming interview? Have you got an interview? how did you get on, what's other videos that you'd like us to make, and I wish you the best of luck in your upcoming Deutsche Bank video interview. Bye!